All right, what is going on, guys? It is time for another episode of the Chasing Waypoints podcast, and we are back. Episode number 73 today. It is Sunday. We are recording same day. But man, has been a busy couple of weeks, but we're getting there. Lots of changes, lots of things coming up, some improvements, things like that going on. Getting workflow, getting everything, back together and making life a little less complicated for me as far as getting content for you guys. I'm absolutely stoked. I've got more videos coming, some short stuff on YouTube, lots of stuff. So we'll talk Chasing Waypoints updates here in just a minute. But before we get into that, man, there are changes coming. Changes afoot. Something's going on. We're talking the Dakar Rally 2023. Shaking it up a bit. So we'll talk a little bit about that, but then we'll come right back to North America Rally and what we've got going on and what's coming on and what we need to be doing. We've got a lot of people interested in Rally Raid, and it's time to get out there. Summer weather has arrived here at San Diego officially, so it is time to dust off the bikes. I'm actually, as soon as I'm done recording here, headed straight to the garage. Got to make sure we start getting the bikes ready. BMW needs a new drivetrain and a washing. And then the 790, I got a tank I need to install on that thing. Got the drivetrain stuff. Got some goodies from Galfer that we'll talk about on YouTube briefly. And then, all sorts of cool stuff. Anyway, let's get right into it. So the big news coming out of Saudi Arabia got to be for the 2023 Dakar. Let's turn the party down a little bit here. Very pro-like. Maybe I should get something that automates the fade out on this thing. Then I would sound way more professional, which would be awesome. And then also not banging my elbows against the desk so it, echoes through the desk and all. But yeah, all right. There's the music. It is gone. All right, let's talk Dakar Rally, making some big changes for this coming up edition in 2023. Let's see. Let's go back to the top on this one. So first of all, and the one that I think there's two of them. I think there's the two biggest changes, I would say. We'll start with the little one. Never mind. We'll save the best for last. So the little one, not so little, is the distance. So this time around, normally they do loop stages in Saudi Arabia, but for this year's upcoming edition of the 2023 Dakar, it's going to be a little bit different. They're going to actually go from coast to coast in Saudi Arabia, more dunes, way further into the deserts, longer stages, longer liaisons. Everything is just going to be longer about the event. So they're talking 14 stages plus the prologue. For those of you that listened to last year's edition here on the podcast, and we were talking a little bit about the differences in the stages, let's recap that really quick. So prologue stages, a prologue is basically qualifying. For all of us here that are used to different forms of racing, whether it be NASCAR, whether it be Formula One, MotoGP, MX, any of that kind of stuff, there's usually some kind of qualifying round, some kind of seeding round that goes on before the event, and then that's what gets you ready to go for the starting order. So, or even if you're going to race on Sunday. So with that being said, that's the prologue in Rally Raid, right? So you got a prologue. Some events are no longer doing prologues, and they're just kind of doing a name out of the hat and then sending them out on the first stage, which, I agree with as well. But a prologue is just kind of a quick shakedown, get everybody used to whatever they're doing. So there's definitely some use for it. And then jumping into stage one. So 14 stages, one prologue stage for this year's event. Might vary a little bit. I'm wondering where they're gonna put the rest day on there, if it's gonna be right at the halfway point, which 14 stages, which actually ends up being an extra day there. So they're talking starting on December 31st, featuring the 14 stages plus a prologue. So 15 days total of racing. Even though the prologue doesn't count towards your total time, it is considered part of the race. You do have to complete it. You do have to compete in it. So that's kind of the deal there. on that one. So looking forward to that. I mean, hey, the Dakar, I mean, I always remember it being a month-long event, just this long process, and then having the Dakar hangover afterwards. Everybody's loopy and tired of hearing about the Dakar and all of this stuff going on. But this year, a lot of prominence, a lot of stuff coming. Skylar Howes, Mason Klein, Bradley Cox, all those guys are already training. Ricky Brabeck already. I think I saw a post from Portugal along with Nacho Cornejo and the whole team. Big news on the HRC side of things. HRC picking up Adrian Van Beveren after Yamaha's quick exit out of the Rally Raid stuff, which is interesting, though, because they turned right around and then they are fielding a team with Paul Torres as one of the riders on the Tenere 700, and they're competing in some of the other rallies. I think Dakar has some very specific rules as far as engine size goes, so I don't know if we're going to see the Tenere 700 quite yet, or the KTM 790 quite yet at the Dakar. I'd like to see it, but I understand that there are some concerns that they go from 0 to holy hell in 2 seconds. So they are very fast bikes. They can be very fast bikes, and a race-bred version of these, like something that what Rottweiler Performance has put out, is very, very dangerous in a good way, right? We're talking Top Gun dangerous. You're dangerous, right? That whole interchange between Val Kilmer and Tom Cruise in the, Iceman and Maverick in the locker room. And that's right. That whole thing. But anyway, so Top Gun Maverick came out recently, and I haven't seen it yet. The girlfriend and I have agreed we're going to watch part 1, and then we're going to go watch part 2 immediately thereafter. So it will be a Top Gun-a-thon. Top Gun-a-thon, something like that. Funny story about that one, really quick. I once had a ex-girlfriend that I didn't trick into, but when she asked what the movie was about, I told her that it was one of the greatest love stories ever. And she was surprised that I would be into a love story, but she was pissed. Anyway, back to it. So Dakar rule changes coming on. 3 things. We'll work an escalation from what I feel is least important to most important. The second one, I keep adding to the list. But anyway, the next one, road books, electronic road books for everyone, right? So we knew this was coming. We knew they were going to do this. This was already a thing. Which unit they are going to be using, I've seen a couple of iterations, right? We know about Ico Racing's Tower 1, which saw again this past weekend or a couple weekends ago in Baja Rally, or in San Quintin for the Baja Rally, training with the American Rally Originals. There's a few guys running it there. I got a great video of Scotty actually transferring the road book over to Slade Robinson's bike just before the start of one of the stages or one of the days. Super simple, super easy to do. You get a couple of guys on laptops that can just send it right over, and it just makes it, brainless. So that was pretty cool to see. Then from there, we've got electronic road books. So I don't know which one they're going to use. I would maybe Ico Racing, the Tower 1. I like that one. But then I know that I believe it's ERTF has one of those as well. I saw some spy shots of that thing floating around. And then let's see here. Let me see if I can find it. You would think I'd have this already queued up and ready to go. Anyway, but so there's a couple of different versions that are coming now. The guys over that do the ERTF stuff, they have they've been producing other equipment for the Dakar for a while, so the tracking systems and things like that. So this does not seem too far-fetched that they would transfer over to their stuff. So, but we'll see. I don't know who else has used their stuff, how they've been testing it, what they've been doing with it, anything like that. So we'll see. It remains to be seen. We've got it coming up. What is it now? Just a little over 6 months, a little under 6 months away. So coming soon. All right. So we got that one going. Total distance longer, more days racing. Then we've got electronic road books now going in, and then I think the last two that I think these are the major ones. These are the shakeups. So we all know about the whole road book road book swing, right? Or the Dakar swing. We've talked about that last year when we were covering the event and doing the podcast episodes, but this time around, there's some monkey wrenches in there. Now, I knew there was some stuff coming because some of the other events, particularly in one that we were talking to Skylar House about it, he sent me a quick message on how it worked, but basically you were penalized for sandbagging, and that was done in the way of basically double points or double time. So if you were late by 1 second, it was actually 2. So it just made it harder to calculate, because you can believe that these teams are pretty good at calculating speeds and where they're at and where they need to be and that kind of stuff. So what time they left, what time they got a target time. I don't know all the inner workings of it, but it's amazing that these teams can actually, with pretty good precision, manage to stay out of the top spot. So that's an interesting skill set, I will say. So what one organization was doing, yes, obviously double timing and like on the prologue and stuff like that to help get rid of that swing set. But in the Dakar, you really hadn't seen anything that really worked or would help with that. And what we're talking about the swing set is this. So there's a couple of known things, right, when in Rally Raid. One, if the further back you start, the more tracks in front you have to follow. So by being in the back, it is an advantage. So that's where, one, leading or opening a stage. So that means you won the previous day, and the next day you're going to be first guy out. You get to lay down the tracks. You have to work the hardest at navigation to not lose time to the guys behind you. And it's very, very simple. If you know there is no waypoint directly in front of you where you have to make a straight line to it, and then you spot this guy several hundred meters over to your right, well, you're going to draw a straight line from you to him, and you don't have to worry. So that gets you a little bit of time. The fact that you don't waste as much time hunting for waypoints or corners or things like that because there's already lines there. All of that stuff helps you make up time on the lead guy. That's why the lead guy, the guy that opens the stage, is usually the one that takes it in the shorts when it comes to time. Now, if they are very experienced and they are a very proficient rider, the time loss isn't going to be as much, but it's still going to be there because the guy behind you is going to be that much quicker, and the guy behind him is going to be that much quicker. And they got line choices and they got stuff. So it makes for an interesting thing. So what ends up happening is that you've got this swing set going where, oh, my guy is doing great, and then all of a sudden he falls off, and it's because they're trying to calculate, they're trying to stay back a little bit to not have to work so hard to make sure that they keep their total stage times consistent. Obviously, consistent stage times is going to get you the shortest amount of stage time overall, which ends up being a win. So just because you cross the finish line first in Rally Raid does not mean anything. You could be the fastest of the day, or you could be the worst of the day. Especially the guys that are coming up from behind that have multiple tracks that they can follow behind or follow. Those guys are going to be able to navigate a lot quicker. So what is Dakar doing to kind of combat that? Well, the very first thing is they are doing basically AB routes. So you're going to have now similar road books that are going to be virtually, I guess, identical, but there are going to be offshoots. There are going to be areas where they kind of zigzag, or they're going to do something in there. The first concern in talking about this with a couple of buddies was specifically, I can't go an episode without saying it. Specifically, was talking to Gnarly Dave about it. Obviously he's one of the premier or one of the biggest road book makers here in Southern California for helping Jacob Argybright, a host of other people, including Ricky Brabeck and Nacho and the HRC guys. So there's a lot of road book making that goes on here in Southern California, and he's primarily responsible for it. I haven't met somebody else making that amount of road books here in our local area. So in talking with him, we were talking, you've got helicopters, you've got medical resources, you've got other things that get stretched thin if the divergence of this route is hey, they're going to go north for 100 kilometers and these guys are going to go south for 100 kilometers. Well, now you got an issue. Now you got two groups of people headed separate ways. So how do you combat that? How does it look? In my mind, what I'm thinking is that they're still going to keep the tracks close enough to each other where it's not an issue, but they're going to be far enough apart so that the waypoints, make radiuses and open radiuses included, are far enough away from each other so that there is some difference between the two. What does that look like as we're riding? You go riding into this big, broad, wide open canyon, or you go into a canyon, and some may end up in the canyon, and some may end up on top and over a little bit from the canyon. So either way, you're in the same area. Helicopter could go left or right for you if you needed it within 2 minutes. You know, it's not really that big of a separation. But the difference is that if you're following behind and you see this guy go up on the ridge, now you're going to start to wonder, is my road book taking me onto the ridge? Now you got to back it down a little bit, figure it out, which one you've now completed. Maybe one of the things that the Dakar has been aiming for, which is slow down the top speeds of some of these guys, get a little bit more thinking going. And we saw that with multiple notes being included in a single roadbook note. So a lot of changes, a lot of things going on there. I think it's a good change. I think it's in the right direction for all of this. So we'll see how it pans out. I like it better than the tire rule for sure, and I like it better than everybody running 250cc two strokes out there as well. So, you know, we'll see what other kind of things are doing. Electronic road books. We've got longer days, and then now, like I said, now you're going to have like A and B routes with slight divergence in the road books, which is cool. I mean, it'll be great. Some people, you know, well, this stage was, 100 meters longer than this stage, and it isn't exactly the same. And I go, okay, well, yeah, I get it. Okay, well, maybe they balance it out somehow. And then the question remains is that, okay, well, is this going to be a B track rider and this is going to be an A track rider? So the whole event, they have their whole series of road books pre-planned that they're going to be getting, or are they going to be switching it up? And, the top guys maybe all run the A route today, and then tomorrow they will run the B route, but then the guys from first and second, they purposely split them, or there's some strategy that now the organization can use to help kind of mitigate that kind of stuff. So that will definitely help. But then the next part of it, right? We're trying to get rid of that swing set, that whole thing where hey, everybody's doing good, and then they start sandbagging to try and get it, and all they're doing is just playing the game to try and get to the top spot. Hey, rightfully so. A lot of these guys are paid athletes. A lot of these guys want to see their names in shiny lights. They're out there to win. They're racers, right? You're first and foremost, they are racers. And then it comes the navigation part of it and all of that stuff. So I think that they're definitely going to be moving in the right direction with this. But then also to help cement that, they're also now introducing basically like a bonus for opening a stage. So now, we just talked about it and it's long been known the guy that opens the stage on the next day, kind of takes it in the shorts because they're laying down the first track. And now everybody after that, their navigation just gets that much more simpler. Now, that doesn't mean you've got to pass and you don't have to navigate, because all it takes is one wrong move, and now all of a sudden you don't know where you're at in your road book, and you've just been kind of swinging along and hoping for the best. So there's still navigation involved, whether or not there's tracks in front of you. You always want to be verifying. Mason Klein can attest to that. Verifying route, verifying, making sure he's in the right place. Had a great performance at the 2022 Dakar, and I got a feeling we're going to see some big things, hopefully some major announcements between now and the 2023 Dakar. I got my feelings. I got an idea. I'm assuming, but I'm not going to say anything. We will keep that, but if you guys want to chime in and send an email or post it up on Instagram, I'll make a post about this episode and tell me what you guys think. Where do we see Mason Klein going, and what team might be scooping him up? What do you guys think? What are some of the predictions for the 2023 Dakar? So let's get that conversation started, because we're still 6 months away from that event, but we definitely want to hear about it. So now, okay, yeah. So now you've got a bonus kind of way of getting time back, or I don't think that they've been super clear about it. I want to do some more research on what they plan on doing for the guys that open the stage, to see if it's going to be worth it. I mean, I would think so. I trust that they know what they're doing to a certain extent, and what they're trying to achieve. And I think that this is going to definitely give everybody a better shot. It's going to make things a little bit more difficult. We're probably going to see some more flat out racing, which is interesting because that's also something what they're trying to avoid, right? Slow it down a little bit and get everybody a little bit more complicated, get some more navigation going, things like that. So, all right, let's see here. What do we got next? Those are the events, digital roadbook for everybody. They are going to be doing daily cash prizes, which is cool for the explorers side of it. So privateers, those kind of those teams that are not. Let's see. Yep. So they're going to be targeting more the amateur crowd that's going into the Dakar, which is cool. I mean, it is a very, very expensive endeavor to get out to the Dakar Rally. We did talk a little bit about that with David Pearson and Kyle McCoy from the American Rally Originals, talking about costs and a little bit of things like what it takes to get out to the Dakar. How much money you got to get squared away and pledged and all of that stuff. So if you guys want, you can head back into the podcast, and it is one of the previous episodes. You'll see it there with American Rally Originals. And then, check that one out. But yeah, so again, all of these changes I think are a step in the right direction. I don't immediately see anything that could be negative, at least from my limited experience, more on the race organization side than actually in practice. But I think that nothing necessarily negative could come from this. But I'm curious to see how it works. And then I'm curious to see how quickly the teams adapt to this. So, maybe now we're going to see some guys gunning for those stage wins, and we're not going to see that swing, so much into effect. Maybe now we're going to see some of the top guys or some of the guys in the middle of the class make mistakes and then navigate thinking that the guy in front of them was on the same road book. It's interesting because if they're doing it electronically, if they're loading road books electronically, literally they can make the decision as they're standing with the guy. So if they decide, they could send two riders in a row out on the same road book, and we would not know. Now, the difference, too, is that you could send two riders out on a road book, and they're going to assume they're on different road books. So then you have that. So then are they going to stop, have a little bit of a tea party, freshen up, whatever, and then compare their road books note to note to note to note for a little bit? Maybe the first 100 kilometers really quick. What other kind of things are we going to see because of this going on? I don't know. We're going to have to wait 6 months to find that one out. So anyway, so that's it right now for the Dakar updates. We'll have more information as it becomes available, as well as some of the other events coming up. Don't forget, we do have the Dakar Rally that is coming up in September. We should have a couple of more event announcements coming up as well, and then also doing some trainings as well. So we definitely want to keep you guys updated on that. And speaking of updates, so let's talk Chasing Waypoints updates. All right. So first and foremost, I spent last night, I don't know, I was up for like 3 in the morning, I think. Just burning the midnight oil, got an idea, couldn't put it away. I just figured, well, let's just make this happen. And so we've got a invitation email that's going to be headed out. I've got a list of about 20 or so guests that I would love to have on the podcast. But that is my list. What I would like is people listening in, tuning in, if they want to nominate themselves or they want to nominate somebody to be on the episode or to be on the show, let's go ahead and shoot me an email, podcast@chasingwaypoints.com. And then if there's anybody with organizations that are tuning in as well that have events that they would like talked about on the show, we are going to have a little bit of a bias to the stuff that's here in North America, but nevertheless, let's hear it. I want to know more about events and what people are doing around the world. But same thing. If you've got an event, something that you want to talk about on the show, on the podcast, absolutely. Send me an email, podcast@chasingwaypoints.com, and we can get in contact with you and we can hash it out. Now, the first person that puts that in some kind of database for spam email is going to ruin it for everybody else. So please don't do that. I do not need any toys, accessories of any age bracket or of anything or any of that stuff. So yeah, don't do it. Don't do it. Because then it's going to be one of those, this is why we can't have nice things So I trust that the Rally Raid community tuning in is all on the up and up, and everybody, I've always had a great time with everybody. So I'm not too worried about that. But that is the direct line, podcast at chasingwaypoints.com. So again, if you have somebody you would want to nominate to be on the podcast, just shoot me a brief message, what we're talking about. Or if you yourself got a story, want to talk about your Rally Raid story and how you got involved with it. Yeah, absolutely. Let's get you on the show. And then again, organizations that have information about their event that's coming up, or if it's a training or something like that, like we need to all get together in one spot and be able to get this information out. Rally Raid is absolutely growing here in the States. Or I should say North America. So calling all people, let's get it going. It's riding weather here in Southern California. It's going to get hot out, so maybe not so much riding weather out in the summer or out in the desert side of it. But there's still some few good days left. I am working on the road book stuff. I know I've been saying that for a while, and some of the adventure raid stuff that I want to do are working on that, getting the bikes ready, getting everything tuned in, and it's time. So I'll probably be out on the roads early in the morning before the heat gets started, get some tracks down, and then laying those out into a road book. I'll share a little bit more as far as how to set your bike up to do this kind of stuff. It's very, very simple. Matthew Glade over at Rally Moto Shops got the stuff already on hand, so it's very easy to just order it from him. It shows up within a few days as well. So incoming is all I can say on that one. So emails going out with the guests, the invitations for that. We're going to be doing that. The other one that we're going to be switching up, and we talked a little bit about this, is going to be the live stream. So Waypoint Wednesdays. So as you guys have noticed, and a couple of people have reached out, there is Waypoint Wednesdays has been on a little bit of a hiatus, but we're coming back with that. We're going to be doing it twice a month now. So basically every other Wednesday. Going to cut back a little bit, but here's what we're rolling with is I want to continue to do some technical stuff on there. So talking technical about certain products, certain things that are available for motorcycles, for Rally Raid, for whatever in general. Things like even the bags, stuff that we're using from Moscow Moto on the motorcycles. Gal for brakes, talking a little bit about brakes and what we're doing on the 790, and just general good information for people on that. So we're going to break it up. So rally news, of course, I love leading with rally news, so we make sure we're not missing anything. We'll get that out of the way, and then go straight into some technical stuff, and then by the end of the show, open it up, and then whoever's tuned in or whatever, we'll just chat it up and see what's going down. What are the next rides, or share some ride ideas and stuff like that. So still keeping it loose, but adding a little bit of format. I just got to hold myself accountable and get some content on there so that everybody can enjoy. I've gotten a lot of comments. I've gotten the "Hey, are you still alive?" messages and stuff like that, which flattered, glad to hear. Love getting that stuff. It means you guys are tuning in, missing the episodes, but I immensely appreciate that. Everybody that's reached out to me, I absolutely appreciate. Chris T, got an email from him. He was one of the guys that I met down at the San Quintin training event. So we're going to get him on the podcast. He's one of the ones getting an invite. So we can talk a little bit about getting started in rally and what he's been up to. So I love sharing those stories because the Ricky Braveks, the Skylar Howes, the Mason Kleins, they're already down the road. These guys, the 2 out of 3 of them are already have their ticket, right? HRC, Husqvarna Factory Racing, Mason Klein, so let's get, they had great feedback. I'd love to get Skylar back on the show. All 3 of them, Mason Klein has come a long way. There's been a lot of progression between the last Dakar and now, and leading up to that Dakar. So I'd love to talk to him, get him back on the show. Would love to get Ricky Bravek on the show for the first time. And then Skylar Howes, would like to get him back on the show now, factory team, all his hard work and everything that he has done. And then from there, even Dave Black, man. Dave Black, if you guys aren't following Couch to Dakar, follow his progression, because he has been doing this, like, he's basically starting from zero, and has worked on his journey to get to where he's at. And that is including, rally raid training, learning to read road books, doing that stuff, going to the Jimmy Lewis schools, also riding trials, doing more off-road training and stuff like that. So you can see, if you follow Couch to Dakar on his Instagram, you can see the progression. Like you can see when he first started riding. Now you can see when he's now, a year later, basically, where he's at on his riding abilities and what he's been doing. So absolutely inspirational. You guys want to tune into that. We do have an episode that we did talk to him about his journey and what he was planning and what he was doing. So you got to flip back through the catalog. You can find that one. I'm excited to say that it's that catalog is getting a little bit deeper now, with this being episode number 73, which I didn't know I was going to make it past 10 episodes when I first started this, but absolutely enjoying it. And having a lot of fun with it, and enjoy meeting people, going out to, was absolutely blown away at the San Quintin training with Baja Rally. All the people that I ran into and knew and talked with, it was absolutely great. So looking forward to it for the next event. I just won't be able to make it to the Kota Rally, but we do have the 6-day Baja Rally coming up, and then Sonora Rally also is coming up as well, right behind the Baja Rally. So the plan right now is to go to both events, but we'll see what the future holds. If Sonora Rally is going to hold on to that date range that they last stated, which puts it the second week after the Baja Rally. So Baja Rally is going to be the first week of October, then it's Morocco, and then Sonora Rally. So at Rally Month is getting there, and then you have the Andalusia Rally in Spain that's also talking about postponing till then. The problem is that you're now getting very, very close to the Dakar at that point. So what teams are going to go out? What teams are going to be there? That's going to be an interesting. Thing. So Rally Month in October, we're looking forward to. It's just a few months away. So anyway, with that being said, guys, I got to get in the garage. We got some bikes to work on. We got some stuff to do. So absolutely excited. Don't forget, we are going to be back on Waypoint Wednesdays this week on Wednesday. So don't forget to tune in 7:15 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And again, if you liked what you heard, please do like, share, subscribe, do all of that stuff. And let's get more. And like I said, hit me up. We have our invite list. We want to talk to some of the organizers of these events as well. So reach out, podcast at chasingwaypoints.com. All right, guys, everybody have a good weekend. All right, that is a wrap for the Chasing Waypoints podcast this week. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like what you heard. We are available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and a bunch of others. Also, follow us on social media. You can find us on Facebook under Chasing Waypoints, Instagram Chasing Waypoints _official, and of course, the YouTube under Chasing Waypoints. Hope everybody has a good week. We will see you guys for the next episode. Remember, shiny side up, and don't forget to tag us. We want to see where you guys are riding and what you guys are up to. Have a great week.